with yours. Now remember, in the chat already, the conversation, there's the link to the Autodesk Education sign up. Remember, you'll need your transcript in order to get okay to download that software for free. Once you get your Autodesk Education account set up and you get to that free software, there is tons of software you can download from Autodesk. If any of you know what Maya is a 3D animation software that is actually a fairly intuitive program. But Autodesk actually makes that and will give you a free version of it for a year if you sign up for an Autodesk Education account and you can verify that you're a high school student. So let me go ahead and get started here. Enough of that. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to share tray. I'm going to share what I've got with you. Just remember, administrators can pop in and out. You don't have to tell me they're here. You don't have to tell me they're whatever's going on. They're just here to monitor you and me to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and look at AutoCAD Web App to start with. This AutoCAD Web App is a stripped down version of AutoCAD. When you finally get access to it, you'll be able to upload drawings from actual AutoCAD. You create folders in here. You create new drawings with this. But also, you can link your Microsoft Office OneDrive to this. See, I've already linked my OneDrive, the Autodesk WebCAD, because I want to be able to have tons of storage. And you got to remember, on Microsoft Office, the shared drive is 1 terabyte of storage space. That's 1,000 gigabytes. It's actually not 1,000, it's 100,000 gigabytes. Excuse me. A terabyte is of 100,000 gigabytes. Now, let's just start a new drawing. If you're using the AutoCAD Web App, now I'm not as familiar with it because it's only been out for a month. So let's just name it 4th period trial. All right, so 4th period trial run. Now, the AutoCAD Web App, if you're creating a new drawing in here, you have to set your drawing units before you start drawing. Imperial, it would be something like your English system, your fractions, your decimal inches. If you change it to metric, that's going to be your millimeters, your meters, your kilometers. And there we do drawings in both imperial and metric. So let's just start off in metric here. This is the other class. I started off in imperial. All right. So when it opens up, you've got a tray over here. You got your views, you got your properties, you got your layers, you got your blocks, and you got your references, and you got your tool tray down here. Now, you can close this down this way to give yourself some more drawing space here. This is what is called as model space. Model space. If you want to zoom to extents, like this, it's going to zoom you in all the way to that access point right there. If you want to zoom in on something that you want to zoom in on, you just basically frame around it and zoom in. Click it and zoom in. Now, we're really far in, so let's just zoom to extents. If you take you've got a mouse attached to your computer and it's got a scroll wheel in it, you scroll it backwards and forward, it can scroll in and out for you without having to go up here and mess with the zoom level. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to click on, get my toolbar back open, and I'm going to choose a rectangle. I'm going to close that down. I'm going to draw well, I closed that down, I disabled my tool. All right, so I want to do a 1,000 millimeter by 1,000 millimeter square. So I put 1,000 in, I tabbed over to get to the next dimension. Then I put 1,000 in there, I hit enter. So that 1,000 millimeter square is a little bitty thing. Now, we can go to properties. Now, look right here. When I just selected my lines, my length of my lines going around that, which is also what term would I use to say the length around the outside of the square? What other term would I use?
The perimeter.
Cameron or somebody, can you unmute and tell me what I'll be looking at when I say the line around the object? What is that referred to as? It's a very simple mathematic term. You're looking for the distance around the outside of the box.
Area?
It's the perimeter.
The perimeter. That's exactly right. I don't know if somebody said that earlier, but I couldn't hear you. But perimeter, the length around the outside edge is the perimeter. So you're looking at a 4,000 millimeter perimeter. It automatically tells you what your area is right here. That's 1, 2, 3. It looks like 10,000 or 10 million units in area. That box looks really, really small or really, really big depending on what you want, what you're looking at. So we just go to zoom extents. And here's our object properties. This is our line type scale, our dimension style. This is going to be an architectural style. So if I wanted to annotate that and dimension that, you get back up here and zoom to extents. So you got 1,000 millimeters across this way. The green boxes that pop up are referred to as snaps. These tick marks are what's used when in architecture, when they're looking at dimensions in architecture. That's why it says architecture-125. There are different types of dimensioning styles. You have mechanical, you have standard. So I'll show you what standard looks like. Snap. See how small that dimension is? That's because I chose standard and I don't like that one. So let me just show you a couple other things here. So let's zoom all the way out here. I'm about as far out as I get. That's not 1,000 millimeters, that's 1,000 meters. But then I'm zoomed all the way out as far as I can go. So let's do a 500 circle. It's going to modify. The one thing I don't see here is an array tool. And because I hadn't been, as I said, I hadn't played around with this as much, I'm not as familiar with the tools. The tools all operate the same way. The tools that are here operate the same way as in AutoCAD. But they don't give you the same access to the tools that they do in AutoCAD. So if you're using AutoCAD Web App, we can still do it. It's just going to take you a little longer to get through it because I haven't figured this program out yet. Now, not that it's saying I won't, I'm just saying I haven't figured it out yet. I recently just pulled it up. As I said, it's only been available for a month. When they told us we were going back to school virtually, the first thing I tried to figure out is how I was going to get you guys to get into AutoCAD because you guys are responsible for taking that Autodesk certified exam. And so now when I click out of this screen, Natalie, tell me if you can see my AutoCAD screen.
Yeah.
Natalie, you can see this get started, it's drawing and all that?
Yeah.
All right, so thank you, ma'am. So start drawing. When you're in AutoCAD, if you download the version of AutoCAD 2020, it's going to be similar. But because I'm here at school, we have 2018. I have 2020 at home on my desktop at home. But here at school, because they only have about 16 high schools, they would have to go through and replace it every single year. And so they don't get around to it until about December sometimes. And we get it about the time the year is about to end usually. So what we would do if you're opening up AutoCAD, you have the AutoCAD app downloaded. Remember, it's a big program. Click Start Drawing. Now, when you start a drawing in here, you don't necessarily have to go ahead and tell it what dimension you want or what units you want to use. I'm going to move that out of my way here because I need access to this command line. Because what I want to do is I want to tell it what units I want to draw in. So I type in units. Now, can you see the different type of units come up when I type in the command line units? Somebody answer my question. Can you see the different types of units that pop up? There's like 4 or 5 different options there for units.
Yeah, it's just really small.
It's really, really small, and I apologize for that. I can't make the screen any bigger unless I use a zoom accelerator like Zoom It, and it makes everything huge. But I would select the one with the 0, 0. It controls the display precision and format for coordinates. So I'm going to click that. It'll bring up a dialog box and let me choose what my drawing units are going to be. Now, If I want to use fractional, which is same as imperial, and I want my precision to be 0.1/16 of an inch, that's what I'm going to choose. My decimal degrees, my precision is 0. I want it to be exactly what degree I want it to be. And then if I want to insert something in the drawing, I want to insert it into a scale of inches. So I'm going to hit OK. Now, one of the most important things that you can say is your friend is the properties dialog box. When you take your Autodesk Education certification test, the properties dialog box is your friend that you want to keep up the whole time. Because it'll tell you your height, your width, everything on your drawing. So let me just start this way. If I wanted to draw a box, a rectangle, that was 10. I've got my first dimension there. I'll put in 10. So how do you change it to tell it what the other side needs to be? You hit a tab key. You put in 10. Now, 10 is going to be not a rectangle. It's going to be a what?
A square.
It's a square, but a square is a rectangle. Correct? Am I right? A square is a rectangle.
Yes.
Now, it's only a rectangle in the shape, not necessarily in the true sense of a rectangle, because a rectangle has an object of two different sizes for the length and the width. A square has the same size all the way around. Now, if I select this line, it's going to tell me the area is of 100 and the length of the line is 40. Because I have a rectangle here. Or a square. It's showing me the geometry of that square. It's showing me the area and the length. So let me show you this here. I'm going to scoot this out of the way. That's your hand tool. If you're using AutoCAD 2020, you'll have access to it as well. And so, if I wanted to draw my own rectangle that was 10 by 10, if I just do it willy-nilly and don't pay any attention to that angle, there's two numbers that pop up here. There are two boxes that pop up. You have a length of the line, and over there to the right side, you see a number that says 89. That's your direction, your angle. If I want to make sure that line is straight, I'm going to hit the tab button, and I'm going to set 90, and tab back, and it's locked both of them in at 10 and 90, and then hit enter to select your next line. So I'm going to select 10 again. And so what angle do I need to make sure my angle is? So if I want it to be exactly straight.
90.
Would it be 90 or would it be 0 or 180?
Or wait, 180 to be straight.
All right, so technically you're right, Natalie, but in other words, you are right, but you are not exactly right when it comes to the direction that we're drawing in. The direction we're drawing in, you're going to draw that line at 0 degrees, and it's just getting practice in drawing in AutoCAD that'll give you that knowledge. And so until you get into AutoCAD, it's hard to figure out sometimes whether it's going to be 0 or 180 or whatever. But guess what? There's a trick to that. If I didn't want to have to worrying about that angle. You have snapped. You have ortho mode, which is F8, using your functions, or you can click it on down here at the bottom. So I'm going to hit F8 to turn on my. Well, I should have done that first. F8. I just turned on my ortho mode. If you can see down at the bottom of my screen, you see a right angle there. I'm going to type 10, and you're just going to see that my angle is not going to change at all. I'm going to hit enter. My ortho mode is still on, and it's going straight up and down. I don't have to worry about the angle. So I'm going to type 10. Now, Natalie, it's going 180. To the left side, it's going 180. To the right, it's going 0. So now I've got a rectangular square. Now, only problem is, even though it's joined, it doesn't give me the same information it gave me a while ago. Well, guess what? We can cause it to do that just by hitting escape and typing in the command. And now, as I know this is already starting to blow everybody's mind, but it is. You'll get there. If you type in the word region, R-E-G-I-O-N, you can set that any object as an object for it to be able to measure what you want it to measure. So you get region, R-E-G-I-O-N, enter. You're going to select the objects that you're going to create the region with. And then after you've selected all the objects, you're going to hit enter. Now it's created that as a closed shape. Now, look, your area is 100, your perimeter is 40. The same as this one, right? I've got properties for two objects. We have polyline, and then we have a region. The polyline was actually a closed square to start with. All right, so I'm going to delete those objects off my page. And I'm going to, some of the objects that are the things that we did not have access to in Autocad Web App. For example, if I wanted to do an array, I got a 10-inch or a 10 millimeter or 10-inch circle in the middle. Now, that's going to be awfully big there. So all I've got to do, I can go to Zoom Extents, zoom out, because what I want to do is I want to make a clock face with this giving me the hour hands all the way around. This using this as a center. So I'm going to create a polar array. I'm going to select the center. Now I need to tell it how many points I need on that array. So how many hours in a clock hand on a clock? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. Don't make me guess. I know there's less than 13, but more than 5, right? So how many hours on the clock?
12.
12.
Well, thank you.
I said 12, but my damn mic don't want to work.
You're all right. Just watch your language, though, because we're recording, okay? Plus, an administrator pops in, they'll make it. All right, so we're going to close the array. Well, actually, I didn't. I gotta go backwards. That's what it was. I didn't tell it what the array. That was what it was. That was my mistake. I gotta get backwards now. I gotta give it something to array. So I'm gonna copy this object here. Make that a base point. I want to bring it down, let's say 6 inches. That's not far enough. Let's move it down 50 inches. All right. Now, I can copy that any which way I want to and still keep it on that ortho mode and keep it on a 180 or 90 degree angle. See how it won't let me move it toward in the middle there? That's because it's got it locked in ortho mode. So I hit F8 again, turn that off, it'll let me move it to different angles. So I'm going to hit escape. I'll release that, and then we'll select this circle here that I want to make a polar array with. And I want to make this the center of my polar array. Now, we said there was 12 hands or 12 hours on a clock. And so, what you end up with is 12 circles around the center. You can actually go in and put your hours in and put your center. You can draw your clock hands here, whatever you need to do. But that's a polar array. For example, if you want to do a rectangular array, first of all, you have to have an object. If I want to do a rectangular array, now I want it 15 columns, 4 rows, and you can tell distance between them. If you wanted to create more distance in between them, you can. So we wanted to put, instead of 1, we wanted to put 5. And then we go and close the array. So now we have an array now when you click it, you can modify it. You have 15 columns, 4 rows. In between, you have 5. Now, if you need to increase the size, the distance in between, you can increase by hitting that arrow there. And this one the same way. So we're going to go here, zoom extents. So we created a rectangular array and a polar array. And I will tell you, that is on the Autodesk Certified User exam. It's doing arrays. I can tell you that much. Let's see. All these other tools here, trim, fillet, chamfer. But I really basically just wanted you to see AutoCAD today. Layering properties. So let me get rid of this. I'm gonna just wipe that one out. Start another one. type in units. Create a fractional drawing. Decimal degrees, inches, everything else is okay. Now, one of the things about it with AutoCAD, you have the same availability of this in AutoCAD Web App. But as I said, I haven't played around with AutoCAD Web App that much. Here, I do know that you're going to have to be able to manipulate layers in the Autodesk Certified User Exam. And so what you want to be able to do, what we need to be working with is creating layers and working with layers. So if I want to create a layer here, everything starts with layer 0. That's your base layer. If I wanted to create a dimension layer, and I want to change that color to red, and I want to change the line weights on that to a little thicker. Let's say 0.6. That way I can change my layer and I can draw on my layer. Now my line type is thicker there. The more you zoom in, the thicker it'll show you. It does, the more I zoom in though, the longer it takes me to get there. So your layer property, you can open that back up. Now if I want to change that line type, I got to get out of that in order to do that. If I wanted that line type to be something else, let's change that to hidden line layer. Then we'll change our line type. Now, you only notice that when you download it originally, you only have one type of lines active. You have to load your line types. We're looking at for a hidden line. Now, hidden basically is hidden 1, hidden 2, hidden times 2. Now, hidden is what we usually use for most of our drawing. If our separation in our line doesn't show up good in our drawings, then we can change the hidden line 2 or hidden times 2. So we'll change that. We'll select that again. Okay. I'm going to stay on this layer. I'm going to draw a line. You see by my layers here, I'm drawing with line type. Now, that's one of the things I was talking about. If your lines doesn't have enough separation on it, that you having to zoom all the way in on it, That's one reason why you might have to change your line types. So that is our line type. All I did to see it was hit extents. Now, get used to setting your layers. For example, if we're doing house plans, we want to create a layer with furniture on it. And we make that layer, let's say, blue. We want to make our line type different than in our hidden line. I'm just choosing thick lines now, just so you can see them on my screen.
Mr. Grover,
Yes.
Javon said that he might have to go because Spectrum is checking his internet.
Spectrum's checking his internet. It's actually about time for us to go anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And I'm going to come back to when I get to teaching. I forget